In this video, I'm going to give you key concepts to achieve the body you've always wanted. No diet required. And this is going way beyond typing yourself as an apple, a pear, or a banana. Why are we even comparing ourselves to fruit when we should actually be talking about math? When I started my style journey, the first thing that came up in searches was body types. If you're a pear shape, you should wear this. If you're a banana, you can't wear that. It's a really outdated concept to think that everybody wants an hourglass figure. And that's what the original body typing system was created to do. I do think that portraying your body in a way that's aesthetically pleasing to you is very important to build confidence and make you feel like your best self in your clothes. But let's stop thinking about our bodies as static shapes and thinking more in terms of balance, proportion, and highlighting the things that you like best. This could actually be achieved with geometry and optical illusions. But before we get into that, take some time to look into the mirror and figure out what you most like in your body and what you dislike, what parts you want to emphasize and what parts you want to de-emphasize, what you want to make wider or narrower or longer. Personally, I've always found it difficult to determine my own body type. I don't really fit into one neat category, and maybe that's true for you too. I have a defined waist, but also narrow hips. My hips and shoulders are proportional, but depending on what I wear, my shoulders can look broader than they actually are. Instead of trying to cram myself into a pre-made box, I decided long ago that I was going to let my personal characteristics decide what I should wear and what I shouldn't. So what does that mean? I like my defined waist, so I try to highlight it as much as possible. I don't like that I can look very top heavily with ease, so I try to minimize that effect and better balance my proportions. And you can determine what that looks like for you by studying yourself in front of a mirror. What shapes does your body make that you absolutely love? What shapes do you dislike and would rather take focus away from? For me, looking into the mirror makes it easy to see how defined my waist is and also to notice how my torso is long. I also suggest you look through photos of you in your outfits because this will give you a different perspective than when you are looking through a mirror. Looking through old photos is what helped me understand that depending on what outfit I was wearing, my hips would look a lot narrower than my shoulders. Assess these elements without putting any judgment into them. Don't body shame yourself. No characteristics are inherently good or bad. The ideal body shape changes throughout the years. So focus more on what you want to look like instead of what you think other people want you to look like. There are basically three horizontal lines that define our body shape. That's our shoulder line, our waistline, and our hip line. There are also three vertical lines: our overall height, our torso, and our legs. And here I'm less interested in what the actual measurements are and more interested in understanding the proportion within them. We can manipulate these proportions using a few basic techniques. The first thing our eyes will seek in any outfit will be horizontal lines. And I'm not just talking about wearing striped patterns. It's impressive that every time I sit down to film a video, somebody turns on a power tool. Horizontal lines are created by collars, hems, belts, and even the opening of our shoes. And this is why monochromatic outfits can be elongated. They don't break your body into multiple horizontal lines, and so the vertical line dominates. Never put a horizontal line on a body part that you want to minimize or make look narrower. This includes hems, details, and silhouette elements such as A-line skirts and bootcut pants. I avoid horizontal lines on my shoulder line so that I don't make them look wider. Do put horizontal lines on areas where you'd like to broaden. I have narrow hips, so having jacket and blazer hems and right at my widest part makes that look even wider. Keep in mind that two short horizontal lines can blend in and create one long horizontal line across your body. So wearing sleeves that end at your bust line will make your bust broader. Take note of where horizontal lines fall within your body and whether or not they cause the desired effect. Diagonal lines, however, creates more work for our brains, distracting from the area they appear, which can cause a slimming effect. Moving on to our next concept. Is black slimming? Well, actually, dark colors absorb light, and so whenever you cover an object with a dark color, it'll be perceived to look smaller. And the opposite is true for bright colors. They reflect light, which means that whenever they cover an object, they make that object look bigger, especially when you have a brighter and darker color next to each other. This is really good to keep in mind when you're deciding on which colors to add to your wardrobe and deciding which pieces will be in which colors. For example, if you want to make your upper body look bigger, then you can wear brighter colors on top and darker colors on the bottom, and vice versa. For myself, I really get the shape that I'm looking for when I wear darker colors on top and lighter colors on the bottom, since I do want to minimize that top heavy effect. And another way to draw attention to a certain body part is by putting prints on it. Prints add visual interest, which means that your eyes will be drawn to it and will give more emphasis to whatever the print is covering. If you want to make something look slimmer or smaller, avoid putting prints in that area. Keep in mind that this is a general rule because depending on the pattern, it can actually cause the exact opposite effect that I just mentioned. For example, wide stripes may give the impression of expansion and make things look wider, but thin stripes might give the illusion of contraction and make things look longer. So this next concept is less of an optical illusion and more of a practical one. Adding physical volume to an area makes it look physically bigger. Shocking, I know. Ruffles, sequins, embroidery, and wide cuts will make that area look larger. So place them accordingly. Do you have really narrow shoulders and wish they were broader? Well, you can try to wear some puff sleeves or some shoulder pads. Want to make your butt look bigger? Try getting some pants that have detailing in that area, like embroidered pockets. Okay, so those were concepts that will make your horizontal lines look wider or narrower. Now let's talk about our vertical lines and how we can manipulate those. But before we do, let me know if you're finding this video helpful by clicking the like button below. Thank you. The same way that we paid attention to what horizontal lines our garments created in our body, we should also pay attention to which vertical lines garments create. So I'm talking about things such as openings, buttons, and seams. Although our eyes are first drawn to horizontal lines, they move faster up and down through vertical lines. And this can create the illusion of length, making you look taller. As I mentioned before with the monochromatic outfits, the less horizontal lines you have breaking up your body, the taller you will appear. This can be hard to achieve though because most outfits are horizontal dominant. The key is to figure out which part of your body you want to lengthen and in which proportion. Your eye will travel up until it meets a horizontal line, and that will be the perceived length of that body part. For example, even though my legs are practically the same length as my torso, I actually have a long waist. This means that low-rise pants create a horizontal line that sits too low on my body. And because of this, it looks like my legs are shorter and it really emphasizes how long my waist is, which is not a proportion that I like. But low rise could look really good on you if you have a short waist, for example, bringing the horizontal line a little bit lower and elongating your waist. When I talk about looking good or bad, I'm actually referring to the golden rule or the rule of thirds. Simply put, it's more appealing to our brains when our outfits are divided into thirds, either in 3 equal parts or a 1-to-2 ratio. Dividing your outfit in half doesn't normally make for a flattering visual effect. The easiest way to achieve the thirds rule is to make sure that you put a horizontal line 1/3 down your body. And although you can play around with this and get fancy with the variations, I find that this is the easiest way to make an outfit look well proportioned. Since there is so much information in this video, I've decided to leave more detailed example of everything that I've talked about for future videos. So check this video out next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.